Hello, everybody, and welcome into another night of Tuesday Night Thunder, live tonight with a cutoff race in the round of 8 here at Talladega Superspeedway. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. Final chance for a lot of drivers to keep their championship hopes here alive, as we will eliminate 4 once this race is over and move on to the championship next week. All right, let's get right down into it. Get down trackside where drivers are getting ready to roll. And boy, let me tell you, I was looking at some of the names we got tonight. Big names, guys we haven't seen in a while. The list is pretty mixed up, so that's going to make things all the much more exciting. But taking the pole here tonight, it's going to be one of the NASCAR eSports drivers. How about Alex Hill in the 77? Puts down a 54.049 to get himself that front row starting spot. Joe Herta on the outside pole. He'll start second here tonight for the Jack Shack. Back in third, it's Daniel Falkingham, one of the Coke Series drivers. Just got done with the College Series race earlier. Had a good finish over there at Michigan. He's looking for more of the same here tonight at Talladega. Ethan Eckert, he'll start fourth tonight. Cody Nagel's back in row number 3 on the inside, and Garrett Maines to his outside in 6th. It'll be Devin Ray back in 7th with Richard Elliott in 8th. Then you move back to that 9th starting position here tonight. It'll be Jason Maines. Good to see him back in the field tonight, with Jared Haynes rounding out your top 10. Back in row number 6, it's going to be Matt Lee for NASCAR eSports alongside one of the NBG Motorsports drivers. That is Michael Triscaro in the 34 machine. Malik Ray back in 13th. Matthew Baker to his outside in 14th. Then it's going to be Trevor Osronoff alongside Landon Velicki in row 8. Chase Mistretta and Aubrey Thompson in row 9. Jeff Merck and Chris Walker rounding out your top 20. Sean Corbett starts back in 21st. It's going to be Caden Dieterich in 22nd. Dawson Wise 23rd with Mike Davenport back in 24th. Then you've got Christopher Carter back in 25th. Logan York 26th. David Sheets and Jalen Hankamp back in row 14. Dylan Jones, Joshua McCullough round out the top 30. Evan Carlbon, Brock Westmoreland back in row 16. Vicente Guerrero for NASCAR eSports in 33rd with Ken McCullough Jr. to his outside in 34th. And it's going to be Mark Vondell back in 35th with Jimmy Emos rounding out the field in 36th. Taking a look at your race info again. Playoff race number 4, and it is the second race in the second round of the playoffs, the round of 8, which means it is a cutoff race in which we will transition from 8 drivers to 4 drivers after this race here tonight. So keep an eye on it. 75 laps going to be the distance. 40% fuel for these drivers. They've got 3 sets of tires to work with. No fast repair, fix setups as always, and then there will be a stage break on lap 25. Weather outside beautiful here in the sim. 65, 28% humidity, cloudy skies, winds at 7 miles an hour, and track temp around this over 2.5 mile super speedway beast of a track. Going to be starting in the 70s here tonight, so that will help the grip out that much more. All right, here we go. Look for your favorite driver. If they're highlighted in white, they're fighting to make it to a championship. Here we go into the restart zone. Green flag is in the air. We are racing at Talladega. field will roar across the start-finish line for the first time here tonight, now up to full speed. Up front, leading the way on the outside, it's the 77 of Sean Hill. On the inside, it's the 54 of Daniel Falkingham. Falkingham trying to make a bit of a statement here tonight. We've been seeing him start to creep around the money racing scene a little bit more. We've seen how committed Malik Ray's been and how much money it's got him this season. Falkingham going to try to do more of the same. A little bit further back, watch for some of these big teams. They're going to be trying everything to get some of their drivers to advance here tonight. One of them is going to be the Jack Shack. For them, it's Joe Herta trying to make that championship for appearance. Then you got to flip it over to NASCAR eSports. They've got a couple drivers that they're going to be trying to push into the championship for. Can't count out NBG Motorsports either. Matthew Baker, remember, he has been one of the drivers who's already won a Tuesday Night Thunder championship, or at least a regular season one. You've got to go way back to the start again. I mean, Tuesday Night Thunder's been around for 5 seasons now. And each season we get to see exactly what we're getting right now. This 3-wide racing here on the high banks as here comes the 34, Michael Triscaro, along with his teammate Matthew Baker. And guess who else? Make it a trio of NBG Motorsports cars. Jeff Merck on the high side looking for a big push to his 2 teammates. And how about that? Michael Triscaro with the assertiveness. He'll get clear as he goes to the middle. He'll take it all the way down to the bottom through 3 and 4. This 2x2 action off of 4, I mean, it's only going to intensify as the race continues to go on. By the way, for Matthew Baker, that's a good-looking paint scheme that he's got on board of his Chevy Camaro here tonight. It's got the blue, red, green, and yellow colors that represent the PGR 500 logo. The Coasting Thunder there on the side. So Matthew Baker, who currently sits in that second spot now after pushing his teammate to the front, is up over 10 positions from where he started this race at. By the way, he is one of our drivers carrying an onboard view. We'll go to him here in just a moment. And there is Matthew Baker. As now you see him starting to fade back here just a little bit. And he'll start to regroup, but not before having to slot back in line in front of the 7 of Jared Haynes. He'll drop his teammate Jeff Merck, who will have to fade slowly but surely to the back until he can pick up some help somewhere. Ethan Eckert, one of the drivers that made it into the round of 19, but couldn't advance to the round of 8. Right now, the only car that's still helping Jeff Merck. They're going to get one more taker here on this 3rd lane. It was just briefly there, the 13, trying to make something happen, but it didn't go anywhere, and they're quickly going to have to all get back to 2x2. Up front, Joe Herta now leads the inside. A couple drivers that have gotten shuffled back. Alex Hill back to 2nd on the inside. Michael Triscaro back to 3rd on the inside. Falkingham falls to 4th. And then there's the 6th, the gold and white Chevy Camaro of Cody Nagels. He'll be another driver to watch. Jason Main's in the field here tonight. He's also been slowly creeping back into the money racing scene, although he's not a rookie. One of the veterans who's been around pretty much since money racing started. And it's good to see Jason in the field here tonight. Again, not a playoff driver, but certainly looking for a good run. Trevor Oswanoth for the Jack Shack in the 89, the JS Pomp machine here tonight. It's a good-looking Toyota Supra. Like the colors on that for Oswanoth. Again, he'll be working with his teammate Joe Herta tonight to try to get that one car to advance. Then a little bit further back in the field, looks like we're starting to get a bit of single file action now as some of the drivers that just want to play it safe. Looks like they're actually being led right now, at least the single file line is, by Caden Dieterich. And then you've got Sean Corbett in the 45, Jalen Hankap, I believe it's Hankamp, apologize if I say it wrong, David Sheets back in 26th. Then you've got Davenport 27, there's Brock Westerlin in 28th, Evan Carbon currently in 29th. Dylan Jones rounding out your top 30. Vicente Guerrero maybe thinking about taking a peek there. And he'll think better of it as he quickly files back into line. And at the back of this group, looked like there was a couple of drivers, Jimmy Emos and Mark Von Dell, that were considering how to take it too wide to maybe get a little closer to the front. You got to be careful when you hang back single file like that. You start to get into a little bit too much of a lull. Next thing you know, you get caught out on a pit stop where you're not close enough to the pack to stick with them once you come out of the pits. That can certainly lead to some issues. 7 of 75 laps now complete here at Talladega Superspeedway. If you're just tuning in, we certainly appreciate you being here. We've already looked at one of the onboard views we have here tonight. Let's take a look at one of the others. That's Michael Triscaro, series owner for PGR eSports. And right now, the driver out of Chagrin Falls, Ohio, didn't get to make as many races as he would have liked this season. And of course, the races he did make during the regular season didn't go as well for him as it did last year. So they made it to the championship for last season. Not going to be the case this season. So he's just out here fighting for some more experience. And maybe see if, of course, he can help his teammate Matthew Baker in his chase for a championship. Jeff Merck rounding out the NBG Motorsports cars, carrying an onward view for us here tonight. He sits in 14th. He's up 5 spots from where he started this race at. That's the driver out of Punta Gorda, Florida, who made it to the round of 19, but unfortunately did not make it any further. Then we go back to one of the fellow broadcasters slash racers in the field here tonight, as Dawson Wise currently sitting just behind Aubrey Thompson. That 13 car you see just ahead. Dawson right now trying to decide which lane he feels like has the better momentum. Dawson, we've seen him making some starts during the second half of Tuesday Night Thunder after commentating early. Ooh, hold on now. Everybody hold it together here as you see Dawson with the big moment there. As the big moment really started up front. That was a heck of a reaction right there by Dawson Wise and everybody else to keep that one clean. Let's back it up for you here. Show you where it all goes wrong. Man, that could have been huge. Watch from the blimp cam here. Is it going to be a stack up? Boy, it sure looks like it. Watch the outside line right there. Richard Elliott, fire out of pipes. Did he blow the motor? That becomes a question. I don't think he did. I think it's just that he's trying to follow Garrett here. Gets a little bit of the tunnel vision right here, and as he goes to push him clear, he's going to get into the one there of Joe Herta, unless he was getting pushed. I don't think he was, though. It just looks like he's following Garrett. He realizes, gets out of the throttle, and then at this point, he's trying to correct it, and Baker, nowhere to go, runs into the back of him, and they save it, but that causes that big stack up, and we saw some wicked saves back here for everybody as they scattered high and low to miss it. Nicely done. All right, as we go back now, live up front, leading the way, still Joe Herta. A lot of dominance early right now being established by this one car, and then just behind him, there's the 54 of Daniel Falkingham doing all the pushing. Garrett Maines, one of the Contender Series drivers, currently rolling the middle. He's got the 77 of Alex Hill just behind him, and here's that third lane again, and guess who? The man that led it to the front earlier, Michael Triscaro, has made his way to the high side yet again. Man, I just watched that push that I saw Alex Hill give to the back of Garrett Maines right there, and I'll tell you what, it gets me a little bit nervous. Alex has been, I don't want to say out of the game, but we just haven't seen him out here for a little bit. And these Xfinity cars are so delicate that you've got to be perfect every time you hop in them. There's a move from Falkingham in the 54. You saw him jump to the high side once he got clear off the front bumper of Garrett Maines. He'll take that spot. We'll see if the 54 goes back down. Indeed, he will. So it's a little over and under move for the 54 of Falkingham to put himself back to the point. And he's going to wait a push here from Joe Herta as Herta arrives. Garrett still leads the middle now. 34, Triscaro still up top. He's got a couple pushers, but I think they're going to need a little bit more than what they got right now if they want to keep this lane rolling. Christopher Carter's up there. And now you see the 77 of Hill. He gets the opportunity to drop down as they cross the stripe to mark lap 11. I guess I should say mark 11 laps in the books here tonight. And the final driver cam that we have here tonight that I want to stop at before we get to this first round of pit stops in just a handful of laps is going to be Evan Carlbon, one of the drivers who, maybe contrary to what a lot of people were expecting, kind of snuck his way in to the round of 8 after just sneaking into the round of 19. And I mean, that's a big swing in momentum. You figure you go from being pretty much the last man in a 19-car round that's going to transition to 8 to advance to that next round is really impressive stuff for the driver out of Berkeley Township, New Jersey. So for Evan Carlbon, do not count him out, at least not yet. And if he's able to advance to that round of 4, he could very well be one of the names that you throw in the hat to go win a championship. 12 of 75 laps now complete. Still 3 wide at the front of the field as they work through the high banks of turn 1 and 2. Here at Talladega, Garrett Maines still leading the middle. Here comes the one of Malik Ray. You see him draw even with his Jack Shack teammate there, the one of Joe Herta. And then the 23 of Chris Walker currently sitting just behind them. And this third lane, it's got to fade eventually. I mean, Ethan Eckert has been pushing on the back bumper of Michael Triscaro to really no avail, at least not yet. So you know he's got to be running out of temps here eventually, as now there he goes. The 33 will bail to the middle. And that'll leave Triscaro to have to fall back now to the front bumper of Christopher Carter. So we talked about the stage break at the start of the race. Again, that will be on lap 25. However, these cars only have 40% fuel. That means they will not be able to make it all the way without making a pit stop. Now, exactly when we expect that pit stop to happen, I think it's going to be probably somewhere right around 16 to 18 laps complete. That would be my best guess, so you'll only have to make one here on the stage. But certainly in that final stage, projected to make a couple, at least if the racing stays green. The other thing that you got to keep in mind is, man, things tend to get really messy once we get towards the end of the stage. It's just, you know, you got guys going for it. I remember hearing last week that there was actually $25 on the line for the stage winner. Don't know if that's the case here tonight. And then, of course, if you're one of the drivers fighting for a playoff, oh, here we go. Pit stop a little sooner than I expected here. They're only going to make it 13 laps on fuel And here we go, Falkingham, Alex Hill going to lead him in. Couple lockups there. They're both going to get it down to pit road speed as Matt Lee, Cody Nagels just behind those two. And then looks like we got a handful more or so takers. Chase Mastretta, Landon Velicky, Dawson Wise, Vicente Guerreros are pretty much all the Nightmare eSports. And then you go back a little bit further here, maybe a couple other takers. That was the question here. Keep an eye on it. David Sheets from McCullough Motorsports. Good to see him in the field here tonight. And so he decided to pit with this group, as did Joshua McCullough, Mark Vondell, and Ken McCullough Jr. So speaking of pitting in groups, looks like Nightmare eSports and McCullough Motorsports decided to make their stops now. And then Falkingham decided to go in as well. And he had led some laps, so not really a big surprise there that he may have had to pit a little bit sooner. And here we go now as we're going to get the second round of pit stops. Can they get in as clean as the first group did? Couple lockups up front again, but looks like Malik, no issues. Same for Garrett and Baker as, further back, 3 almost 4 wide there just briefly. Caused a little bit of trouble, but it looks like they all get it sorted out now. And they'll work their way down to their pit boxes. Just scare a little bit of contact. And sometimes you get a couple of these little bumps, these little clips of each other when they start to try to, I guess the best way to put it is, they're trying to kind of run different lanes. I mean, basically what you have is some guys are just trying to stay on the left side of the pit so they don't have to turn down. Other guys are trying to run on the right side. Sometimes you get that kind of crossing of paths, if you will. But as they're all going to bail out now, man, this is a group that really needs to get some organization here in a hurry. Look at Falkingham, the group he's leading. They are flying now into the high banks of 1 and 2. They're going to get by everybody in that second wave of pit stops. Let's see if they can get around everybody that led that group out here. Jimmy Emos, by the way, still out on track. Looks like Malik Redo, who currently leads his second group. Let's see. You see Falkingham way in the distance on the outside line. This group is trying to get up to speed. Garrett Main's pushing Malik right now. Joe Herta just behind those two. And it looks like Ethan Eckert rounding out the group. Falkingham drops low. He's going to pick up more of a draft. Watch this run that Daniel Falkingham is getting ready to get. And the question is, what's he going to do with it? You got to assume he makes the move. Sure enough, there he goes. Falkingham, 195 miles an hour as he pulls out a line as they work into the tri-oval. You saw Garrett and Malik make that move up top to throw a little bit of a block. Falkingham's going to give a big shot here to the 12 of Garrett Maines. 3-car tandem just briefly. And now as Maines gets clear low, that'll set up Falkingham now on the back bumper of Malik Ray. So all that pushing and shoving and really nothing to show for it. But overall, a good round of pit stops here for this lead pack. At least, I'd say about half of the lead pack. Looks like Chris Walker leading that second group. Jeff Merck, the last car in that lead group. They're about 2.7 seconds back as it stands right now. That's the onboard view there for Chris Walker. And so Jack Shack drivers, they got a couple of them in this group. Looks like Haynes and Aubrey Thompson are there as well. They're going to have to find something here. They're going to have to find it pretty quick. I just don't know if they're going to have enough time, though. 16 laps complete. That's only going to put us about 9 to 10 to go here in the stage. So we'll have to see exactly how it all pans out. 17 of 75 complete. Garrett Maines will shut the door on the inside now. Joe Herta's going to set him up for a little bit of a push. And with these cars, one of the big things to remember is that you cannot really push in the corners. A couple drivers that we see be able to risk it. If they have enough chemistry with the driver they're trying to push, maybe you get away with it if you are perfectly squares. Look at this. Falkingham, he's going to get aggressive as he goes to the high side here. Alex Hill gives him a massive push. Is it enough to get to 54 clear? Looks like it is. What a move from some of the Nightmare eSports teammates to push Falkingham to the front. Now as Daniel Falkingham drops low, that'll leave Alex Hill, Cody Nagels, and Chase Mastretta. 3 more of the Nightmare eSports teammates on the high side. And by the way, I was looking around at some of the Discords, and it looks like Falkingham may actually be running with the Nightmare eSports group here tonight. And so, boy, that's certainly going to play as a little bit of an advantage with all the members that they've got in trying to help get Landon Velicky to that next round. But speaking of Velicky, you're wondering, well, where is he running right now? That's the big question, is what happened to Landon Velicky? I didn't see his name initially when they were actually bringing it into the pits. But as they worked their way out, it looks like he had some sort of issue that has put him all the way back in 36th. He's not a lap down yet, but he's getting ready to be here. As you see the lead pack closing in on him pretty fast in that 62 machine. So for Velicky here, this is going to be all about just trying everything to stay on the lead lap, or excuse me, stay as the first car a lap down, and hope that he can get that lucky dog here once the stage caution comes out. One of Malik Ray pushing Falkingham for all it's worth in the middle right now. Falkingham, he'll get clear to the bottom, but he does not take it. Chooses to stay in the middle. Not going to really help that high side out much. They needed Falkingham to drop low. There he goes. And as they'll go full wide just briefly here around the 62 of Landon Veliky. No harm, no foul there. Watch for Veliky in the 62 to jump in line. There he goes. Dawson Wise going to be responsible for trying to pick up the teammate that he's working with tonight. So there you go. He'll give a push to the 62. They'll be able to stick with the draft as they'll drop in behind the 89 of Trevor Oswernoth. And so once you add that, in total in terms of car numbers, you've got 19 cars here in the lead pack, 18 of them which are on the lead lap. And then you look at the ones that are in the playoffs, looks like you've got at least 4 of them inside the top 10. Maybe add a couple more that are somewhere between that 10th and 18th position. 20 laps now complete. That puts us at officially 6 laps to go here in the stage. And if we got a caution at this point, certainly makes some things interesting. Remember, they made that green flag stop pretty much at the halfway point in this stage. Maybe just a lap or 2 after, so they should be good to go here. Don't see any reason they wouldn't be, as Falkingham, you see off the nose view right there, they're going to go by the 14 of Vicente Guerrero, the 77 of Alex Hill, and Cody Nagels, Matt Lee. They'll all go by their NASCAR eSports teammate. And watch and running in the middle of this pack, Caden Dieterich. He's up 12 spots from where he started this race at, and I don't believe that he's got any teammates to work with here tonight. So right now, Dieterich doing a heck of a job running with these leaders and looking for maybe some extra bonus money here at the stage. Malik Ray, is he going to get split? Matthew Baker chose to go high. Big run coming from the high side here as they cross the stripe. Garrett Main saw that quick reaction for the 12. He is fighting for some more stage points. That's why Garrett was so adamant about jumping up to the high side right there. For Daniel Falkingham, he may be trapped on the bottom here for these next 5 laps. Garrett still in control, though, by leading the middle. If he can hold off this big charge up top, Matthew Baker, does he have enough of a run to get clear? Not quite. Malik's going to hold Garrett out in front as they work towards turn number 3. And again, so close, but just not quite enough that time. For Garrett Maines, he was the regular season champ, so he's already gotten himself a pretty good sum of money from that, but he's looking to see if he can get a little bit more and make it, I don't know if this would be back-to-back championships or his 3rd championship in a row. Either way, Garrett Maines certainly has made his mark in the Tuesday Night Thunder Series, and he'll be looking to do the same this season. I'm excited for what we got next season. I know it's still a little bit of a ways away, but I can already think of a couple teammates, a couple drivers, as a matter of fact, that ran this season a lot of the races once they found out about the series. Not for points, just for the money that each race pays out, but you know, next year, knowing that they'll be able to be eligible for points, I think you're going to see a lot of interesting drivers in the series. And of course, it switches to invite only next season. That's the other big thing, is it will no longer just be anybody that wants to enter can join. It is invite only, so you have to get an invite from series owner Ron Morris Jr. in order to run. And the hope of that is to help clean some things up. We'll have to see how it pans out, but either way, here we go now. 23 of 75 laps in the books. So that officially puts us at just 3 laps to go here in stage number 1. Going to be going by another lap car. Looks like that's Jimmy Emos, who will stay on the high side. A lot of shuffling here at the front. We have seen already plenty of lead changes, so we're going to see a couple more. Matthew Baker with a jump to the high side. Eckert decided to slam the door to make the block. Baker going to roll with him right now, but I'm telling you, you got to be careful making those moves. As further back, you saw Davenport briefly have to make a catch there off the front bumper of Chase Mastretta. And here is that onboard view for Matthew Baker trying to push Eckert. He's trying to get as close as he can, square him up, and actually push him as soon as he can out of the corner. But he doesn't want to get on him too soon. And notice as he tries to push him, gets this car really out of shape. Baker having to check up left and right to try to keep this 33 car straight on his front bumper. But man, that middle and the high side really got rolling there down the front stretch. Malik Ray trying to get clear here of Falkingham to have a chance to drop low. Eckert is still all over the place. Garrett finally going to jump back down to the middle. Falkingham with fresh temps will push. Malik Ray going to stay in the middle. Man, that is another big shot. These guys are all over the place up here. This is what gets you nervous, though, is that they may not make it all the way back to the stage flag here. If they keep this up, it'll be the white flag when they cross the line this next time. And there they go. Big wreck, one up in the air, hard into the safer barrier. As more cars spin, the 33 of Eckert's involved. Matt Lee's in it. And it was Caden Dieterich who went head on into the outside safer barrier. First caution of the night. This will end the stage. We'll have to see who was out in front at the time of caution. Right now, scoring showing Garrett Maines as your stage winner. But again, we'll have to go back and get official scoring on it. That was a huge wreck for Caden Dieterich. Immediately had to tow it to the pits. Man, that's the risk, right? You know, no fast repairs. Kind of risk versus reward here, and running up front, you have a chance to get stage points, but the fortunate part is when something like this happens here, and let's slow it down first so we can actually go back here to Dieterich, where I have a bad feeling there may have been a little bit of right rear net code that gets this 24 hooked around, and then once he goes up, massive impact into the outside safer barrier. Car slides backwards here until eventually coming to just about a halt. And it didn't stop there, but let's go to the chopper view here and show you to see if that's exactly what it was. Was there a little bit of right rear net code? Watch the 33. Oh, man, there was more than just a little bit. Man, that's a tough break. It wasn't even anybody doing anything wrong. It's not like there's a bad push or a side draft gone wrong. It's just... And actually, you wonder, did Dieterich get net code a little bit from Falkingham? I couldn't tell from that view. Watch it again here. Maybe a little bit. It's hard to tell. You saw Falkingham wiggle just a little bit on the bottom. Again, he doesn't actually run into the 24, but it was weird the way the 24 car kind of jumped right here. Watch it kind of slide out a little bit. I think that's just two guys catching it. Falkingham never actually hits him, like I said, and then 24, as he's starting to just creep up maybe just a little bit, they're going to stay off of each other, but unfortunately it gets clipped by a little bit of that right rear net code that we mentioned, and it's on from there. Big hits. As you saw Ethan Eckert slide down the racetrack, and he's going to collect a couple more in the process here, too. 33s goes down. Matthew Baker, man, that was a big hit for the 5 car who could not afford to have that happen. That may end his championship hopes. He felt like he needed to be aggressive here tonight, and that's, again, just the unfortunate nature of not having a fast repair. Let's watch that again here. We'll slow it down here. Watch from TV3. Matthew Baker here in the 5, trying to sneak through, but big hit. Nagels makes the save. Matt Lee is going to run into the back of Eckert. That wraps up the cars that got some damage, but, I mean, for Matthew Baker here, he's in the pits getting damage fixed, and just don't know if there's anything he can do now. Watch it from his onboard view. It just happens so quick, and you hope that maybe it's not as bad as it looked, but like I said, when you T-bone a guy, you know, going over 180 miles an hour, it's unfortunately usually not going to be too pretty, and this time was no exception. Big hit for Dieterich. Heck of a save by Cody Nagels to not get himself basically right hooked into the outside wall. Give you one more look at this here from turns 3 and 4 before we go back live. Look at that car jump up in the air. So first caution of the night, again, brings the stage to an end. Did want to show you who we had scored as out in front at the time of caution. See, Garrett has it here, and caution's out right there. So Garrett Maines is officially your stage winner here tonight. He's got a pretty good knack for winning these stages. We've seen him do it before. We see him do it again here tonight. All right. And so you've got, looks like a little bit of a mix-up here up front as we'll get ready to go back green for stage 2. Wait to see who decides to go in and top off here before we tell you what it's looking like. But 26 to 75 laps complete. Looks like it'll be 28 complete when we go back green. That'll set us up for a restart with just over 45 laps to go. Probably somewhere about 47, 48 laps to go here at Talladega. And it's Joe Herta that's being scored as your leader here. Alex Hill to his outside in second. Garrett Maines back in third. Nagels to his outside in fourth. Then you've got Brock Westerland, Mike Davenport, 2 PGR eSports teammates back in row number 3. Then it's Falkingham alongside the 8 of Chase Mistretta in row 4. And then back in row 5 and rounding out the top 10. Looks like the 35 machine making his way towards the front. Now that's Jalen Hankamp. And Jalen, by the way, one of the drivers that I don't believe we have seen ever before in Tuesday Night Thunder. I believe this might be his kind of initial debut start, but having a good run so far. He's up 19 spots from where he started this race at. We'll see if he can keep it that way for the next 40-plus laps, 45-plus laps, I should say. And so now you got to wonder, does the level of aggression change? You would certainly think that it would, as, I mean, you figure at this point, with the amount of laps we're going to have left, that's still, let's see, you figure 2, maybe even 3 pit stops away. So we'll have to see. Actually, I guess it would be 2 pit stops away. It'd be at least 1 fuel run. I think it's going to be 3 fuel runs, 2 pit stops. So we'll have to keep tabs on that, Depends on, of course, when they decide to come in on each stop. But for Matthew Baker, we talked about the damage he got. Dieterich still in the pits. Emos and Guerrero a lap down. Baker got everything he could fixed. And I don't think the car is back to perfect just yet. But good news is he does have the hood back on the race car. That's certainly an improvement. And it's kind of weird the way the splitter was kind of glitching through the track right there. But actually, I mean, it doesn't look all that bad here. For the 5 car, maybe he didn't get it as bad as it looked like. We'll have to watch out here. Matthew Baker may not be out of this thing just yet. So if you're a Matthew Baker fan, hopes and dreams are still alive here. Get ready to find out. Here we go as the pace car will make that left turn down to the pits. Again, it'll be 28 of 75 laps complete. That will set us up for officially 48 laps to go here at Talladega. Green flag is in the air. Who wants to advance to the championship for? We're getting ready to find out. Here we go. Good restart for the one of Joe Herta. Alex Hill able to match him pretty well, though. As they climb the banking through 1 and 2. Again, it takes these cars pretty much 3/4 of a lap to get up to full speed and really get the momentum going. Looks like Garrett's going to quickly make that jump to the outside. Joe Herta, no move to cover. And if you're Joe Herta, I mean, no reason to try to be aggressive there, but certainly take notes for what you might have to do at the end of this race. And, I mean, if you remember for Joe Herta, he didn't make it last week. So that was the other thing I wanted to mention. Joe Herta is, to a degree, kind of in a must-win situation here tonight. So he will be very aggressive once we get towards the end of this race. Look at some of the chaos that we're seeing further back right now. A couple of the Jack Shack entries. Chris Walker in the 23. Stuck on the outside here, fading back. Trevor Oswanoth in the same boat. Back up front, though, Alex Hill. He has now made a jump to the outside. Nagels is going to try to push the 77 even here off into turn number 1. As they continue to battle, let's see if we can actually give you a brief idea of what the points are looking like. The point standings coming into this race here tonight. And so remember, it's a round of 8, but the more important thing to keep an eye on, of course, is the drivers trying to advance to the championship 4. And so, you know, we already named the drivers that were in it last week, but in case you missed it, Garrett Maines, Matthew Baker, Joe Herta, Dylan Jones, Brock Westmoreland, Joshua McCullough, Evan Carlbon, and Landon Velicki, all the drivers that advanced to the round of 8. And again, only 4 will advance to the championship race, which I said initially was next week. I believe it's actually in a couple weeks. We'll check that out a little bit later. Still 3, almost 4 wide there, all the way towards the back. These guys really struggling to figure out exactly what they want to do here. Matthew Baker on the 5 car. Looks like the news was correct that whatever damage he had was not as bad as it initially looked. He's got that car fixed up. Looks like he is back out on the racetrack now. And he's running for position, too. So, man, that was a big break for the 5. And now he's got to try to work his way back to the front. Plenty of time to do so, though. Some of the pit stops that we still got to make is here goes Dawson Wise and Devin Ray. They're going to take their shot at it. Looks like Christopher Carter on the 25 will go up as well. And, oh, man, Carter maybe gave a little shot there to Devin Ray through the corner. And that was almost another big moment there. If the 2 would have got turned down into traffic, that could have been catastrophic. Field crosses the line 2x2 for about the first 4 to 5 rows. Man, for Alex Hill, he could just go on and on about the things that this guy's done. This time in the Money Racing scene, some of the big named races that he's won. But looking to still see if he'll run a full season in Tuesday Night Thunder. If he has, it was one of the early seasons. Obviously, didn't get to see it this time around. But look at Dawson Wise and Devin Ray on the high side. I saw 2 cars with a little bit of a 3rd car. I didn't think they'd get there this quick, but they have. You got to give kudos there to Devin Ray and Christopher Carter for all the pushing that they're doing to get the 9 car now even with the 77, his teammate. That's Alex Hill in the 77 that I'm referring to, his teammate to the 9 of Dawson Wise, who, again, running with NASCAR Esports here tonight. And if you're Garrett Maines, you're just hoping that the 77 doesn't get clear, but even more than that, you're really hoping that the 9 doesn't get clear. I wanted Joe Herta, though, doing a good job of making sure that doesn't happen. Dawson Wise was able to get clear of the middle. He jumps down to pick up his teammate. Wasn't quite able to get clear all the way to the bottom, though. See the focus. Dawson looking relaxed, but at the same time, keeping his eyes on pretty much the steering wheel just to make sure that stays straight with all the pushing that he's getting from out back right now. The 77 of Alex Hill continues to shove him out in front. And as Dawson will now jump down to the inside, Garrett Maines will set him up for a push. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if it's that charge that the third lane made or if everybody's just starting to get a little aggressive now. But, I mean, once that third lane made that move to the front, they got a lot more takers. I mean, I look out there, Logan York, Michael Triscaro, Chris Walker, and they really have not died out yet. Chris Walker going to stay up there to try to help his Jack Shack teammate Devin Ray get to the front. But then for Triscaro and York, not much to gain right now. They're still going for it anyway. They feel like this third lane's rolling enough to try to make something happen. So if you're the 9 of Dawson Wise now, I mean, he's out in front. This is going to be about the most nervous he's been all night. Still really wants to win. I mean, Tuesday Night Thunder, of course, considered kind of one of the, so we'll call it title, the premier series. We'll call it that. One of the premier series in money racing. You look at PGR, Tuesday Night Thunder, both pretty close in terms of how much Amin wins in each series with how talented the field is. And so Dawson Wise is going to be trying to make that become reality here tonight. Still leads as you saw him work back to the high side. Man, that's another big wiggle right there. Wise is getting pushed by his teammate Alex Hill, and right now Dawson's saying, Alex, give me a little bit of a break here. We're out in front, I'll try to control, but if you get me turned around, then there's nothing I can do after that. So as they continue to stay 3x3, it is now 34 of 75 laps complete. And based off when we went back to green flag racing, we have a pit stop here. I think we'll have that first pit stop probably somewhere around maybe 42. I think would be my first initial guess, anywhere between 42 and 45. I think we would see that first pit stop. Of course, we'll have to see, but we'll keep an eye kind of right around that number to see if that is indeed the first lap. These drivers decide to come in to take fuel if they can make it that far. Of course, with the fact that they are continuing to run 3x3 here at the front. Dawson Wise, Alex Hill, Devin Ray continue to lead. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us here at Talladega.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Making you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run! We will run!
Ladies and gentlemen, the
Monkey is prime!
this season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's on! Oh, that's good.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
3x3. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Just before we go back to full screen, wanted to show you what payouts are looking like here tonight for race. Oh boy, man, sorry, close moment further out back. But just before we do go back to full screen, here's what the payouts are looking like here tonight. Race 2 in the round of 2, and this was based off of 30 entries. We had more than that, so these payouts may have actually went up a bit. 145 to first, 100 to second, 100 to third, 85 to fourth. And all right, you know what? We're going to hold this thought for now. They are getting crazy. They almost just lost it going into turn number 1. We'll get back to those payouts here in just a moment, but let's watch this and then see if things can settle out here a little bit first. Up front, almost another big incident that would have led to our second caution for incident here tonight. Let's watch it from the chopper view. See, oh, it's actually the 2 of Devin Ray. Does he get a little shot here from his teammate? Yeah, he does. Chris Walker is going to get him just a smidge offset right. That's going to send the 2 down the track into the 4 Westmoreland, and he is lucky. Brock is very lucky that Cody was not a little bit further up. Otherwise, that 4 car would have gotten hooked. As he gets back up, he's going to get back into Devin Ray, and now it's just everybody out of the pipes, fire out of the pipes, trying to just get out of the throttle to save it. They do a good job of doing so, and so it looks like it's calmed back down up front, finishing off on those payouts. 145 to first, 100 to second and third, 85 to fourth, 75 to fifth, and $65 to 6th place. Might be thinking to yourself, this payout seemed a little small for $25. We can't forget about the money that's going, of course, towards the championship fund. The money that was already used, of course, for the regular season champion. We believe we had a payout at the stage break of $25 on top of that. And so, again, you'll have to keep an eye on those championship payouts, which we'll get to see in the championship race, and those are going to be just as big as they have ever been. Always makes that race that much more exciting, especially when you've got teams kind of battling teams, even if they've only got one of their drivers in it, in the championship 4, that is. So looking forward to that event. And by the way, in case you're wondering when exactly that race will be, tonight's the final race before the championship, and then we will go ahead and take a week off for a Thanksgiving break, really. But overall, I think normally most seasons we've taken a week off after the final race before the championship. So meet us back here on December 3rd for what will be the championship event. It'll be 100 laps at Talladega. Track that's a little bit wider, provides a little bit more freedom in terms of how aggressive you want to be on the racing aspect. It is going to be good. All right, setting ourselves back up front here as things have calmed down. You see that inside line growing longer and longer. All the single file indicates that pit stops are on the horizon, and here we go. Gonna get them a little bit early as, can everybody get in pretty clean here? Matthew Baker with a little bit of a lockup further back. Watch out. Oh, man, a couple drivers really flying in here. Looks like they all get in okay, though. Matthew Baker leads them in, and then out back, it's a mad scramble. Everybody getting to their pit box. Don't see anybody overshooting just yet. Oh, David Sheets in the 06 with a brief mistake right there. That's going to cost him a little bit. And now they'll make their way out here. Devin Ray, the closest pit box to the front. Actually, Eckert was, but he had some sort of issue here as he's got some damage as well, still from that first incident. So Matthew Baker, he will lead him out just as he let him in. Devin Ray will follow in a close second. And there's the rest of that front group that made a pit stop. Question is, will the second group do the same now? Going a little bit longer can be an advantage here if they can get back with the leaders once they come out of the pit. So here we go. Everybody else is going to peel off. Let's see if they can all get in as clean as the first group did. Couple lockups up front. Nagels with a big lockup. Almost gets in the back of Falkingham, but he holds on, as does everybody else. Man, they have been on point for the pit stops so far here tonight. Now Jason Maines, Richard Elliott, they're going to try to find a little bit of room to get into their boxes. Looks like Maines has the earlier box, so Richard Elliott won't have to worry about making an adjustment. And now you wonder, how does this group get out in comparison to that group that already pit? You can see on the track map, Matthew Baker, who sits in 19th. That's where he currently is. He's getting ready to make his way into the tribal. As this group all leaves the pits, here comes Matthew Baker and company, and now they have a full head of steam. So the big question for them is going to be, can they get there? You see a little bit of right rear damage on Matthew Baker. Not sure if he got that just recently. But as they're now working in towards turn number 1 with the speed they have, it's going to be close, but I think they might drop off a couple more cars here. We'll have to see how quickly everybody gets back together. It's a really, really long single file line for that second group that pit, and as Baker continues to go by more and more of them, they continue to get faster and faster, closer to being up to full speed. And once that's the case, they'll start to try to track them back down, assuming they're at least in the footsteps of the draft. So now that the first pit stop's out of the way, you can start to go back to work here on trying to make up a little bit more track position. As you see Matthew Baker on the high side, Matt Lee is on the inside. things have finally started to even out here just a little bit. They got to be careful. Looks like they are within range of that front pack, but they may pull on a couple of others that they didn't want to here. They stay 2x2, which it looks like they will. Jason Maines, Trevor Osranoff, and everybody in that kind of second group that started to form off of the first group is back within half a second, so they will catch up, even if not right this second. And Mark Vondel, the first car that is kind of the odd man out right now, he is 29th. So think about that. Compared to what we had the first stage, I mean, this was a whole lot better of a job by everybody for us to still have 29 cars in this lead pack in a race, which we had 35 cars in. So a heck of a job on that first pit stop, but you can't get too relaxed yet because that is not what we expect to be the only pit stop, expecting there to be one more. Now, based off when we saw that stop right there, I would say the next one would be probably close to lap 60, maybe a lap or two before. Well, this might be pretty close in terms of trying to make it a one more stop for fuel mileage. We'll have to see if drivers decide to duck in line or not. If you see them staying pretty racy, it means they must not be concerned about it. But if you see drivers starting to kind of just file in line, ride, and just use that draft to save fuel, then that could mean that maybe they're a little bit closer on fuel than we initially thought they were. Either way, it's going to be really close, and if we go into some overtimes, even if you're going to make it to the end of regulation, it may not so much be the case to make it through those couple of overtimes. So it's 45, going to be 46 of 75 laps complete when they cross the line this time. By the way, if you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here. You are watching playoff race 4 of season 5 for Tuesday Night Thunder, second race in the round of 8, and an elimination race before we transition to the championship 4 in just a couple weeks' time. You look at all the names on the scoring tower, the ones that are highlighted in white, those are the drivers that are still in the round of 8 fighting to make it to the championship 4. We know Garrett Maines and his chances of doing so are basically all but locked up. And you go to Matthew Baker. He's trying. He's in better position, especially after being in that wreck earlier. Still a lot of work to do in one wreck. Knowing that there's no fast repair can take you out of contention pretty much in an instant. So we'll keep an eye on that. But let's go actually to an onboard view here. We'll hop on board with Matthew Baker. And right now, this is the point as a driver where you almost kind of finally feel like you actually get to relax a little bit. And maybe not if you're Baker here, because he continues to go up here to try to fight for the lead. He'll draw even with Logan York down the short chute into the tri-oval. You do see they got a lap car a little bit further ahead, but if you go a little bit further back in this pack, let's say you go back to, oh man, maybe some trouble here. Dawson Wise. Oh man, trouble. Dawson Wise has spun. I was just getting ready to go back to him to say let's hop on board, but oh no. What has happened to the 9 car here? I don't see any damage. I believe it was an innocent spin, but that will cost Dawson the draft, and there's the culprit right there. You see it on the left rear bumper. He had some contact. Sent this 9 car around. Let's see exactly who it was here. And is there a big checkup? Not really. Oh, man. That's trouble that starts up top, and then Dawson gets turned. Devin Ray gets shot out of line as well. Dawson very lucky that kind of the spot he got turned at wasn't a little bit sooner. Otherwise, he could have been clipping an inside wall. But go back one more time here and show you exactly. That was Chris Carter. No, yeah, it was. Sorry. I believe that was 25 of Chris Carter up top here that I was thinking of. I think he comes down here and just, you wonder, was he loose or did he just not realize there was a car there? What happened? Let's give you the onboard shot first. So he's in the tri-oval, he's up top, and then as he starts to turn back down, I almost think that Chris never really realized that there was anybody else there. And when he goes to do that, I mean, he goes up. There's nobody there initially, but at this point, Jason Maines is now there. I just don't think he realizes it. And then as he comes down, just Jason sees it coming, tries to check up. The 25 still goes across his nose, runs into Malik, and then gets into Dawson and Devin. Devin's going to tag Dawson a second time. This is what actually spins Dawson fully out. And then, as I said, lucky that kind of spun at the angle where the wall goes further inwards instead of outwards, and he was able to miss it. This is what the cockpit view looked like for Dawson Wise. We saw the back half of it, but not the initial incident. Right there, just gets tagged, and man, that's a scary side of his driver when you see that inside wall coming up that quick. He probably went from thinking his night was over to thinking, well, I'm not too happy, but at least now all I need is a caution to get back in it. And he might get his wish because they are dicing it up front still. You would not think that we still had just over 25 laps to go in this race. Michael Triscaro is going to go back to the point at the front of the field. Triscaro is still trying to win his first race of this season. And as he leads the inside now, it's Logan York in the middle getting pushed by the 5 of Matthew Baker. You got the 23 of Chris Walker up top. He's getting pushed right now by the 13 of Aubrey Thompson. 50 of 75 laps complete. We are now officially 2/3 of the way through this race. That means we're getting ready to hit 25 laps to go when they cross the line this next time. One more pit stop, at least for now, is what we expect for these drivers. Now, exactly when they're going to have to make it, that still remains the question. I think the goal is lap 60. Now, if you can stretch it exactly that far, that might be the question that we're kind of keeping an eye on. I think if you see him pit before lap 50, 56, even 57 maybe, anytime before then, I don't think that means that they can make it on just one more stop, and they would have to pit at least 2 more times. That last stop tends to be in just a splash of fuel. So as Logan York still on point right now, Matthew Baker on the high side. His race has really took a turnaround after the bad luck early. We'll leave it there. We don't want to give him the announcer's jinx, but Garrett Main's currently running 3rd on the inside. He's got Nagels just behind him. And what was all that 3-wide chaos just a couple laps ago has now kind of settled back down to 2x2 for the most part. Joe Hurta's trying to push Matthew Baker clear the front. Looks like he will. Baker's going to drop down, slams the door on Logan York. So right now, Matthew Baker and Joe Hurta are your 2 highest running round of 8 drivers. And then you got to look all the way back to 7th before you find Garrett Maines, Landon Veliki's 23rd. Joshua McCullough, another one of your playoff drivers. I believe he is actually the furthest back of your playoff drivers at the moment. And we do have a few cars that are currently sitting a lap down that are hoping for a caution, including Vicente Guerrero, Ethan Eckert, Jamie Emos, and Caden Dieterich. Again, if we get a caution, that would certainly benefit those drivers. Dawson Wise, by the way, currently sitting in 32nd after that near spin. And I believe with where he sits right now, actually, let's see, is he running with the 27th place car? I believe he is, of Devin Ray. Not quite, actually. Looks like Dawson, obviously, a bit further back than that. And yeah, he's sitting, just getting ready to go into the travel. So he is in danger of going a lap down here. So is David Sheets, within probably before the next pit stop, actually. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Is 24 laps to go now. Continue to get closer and closer to the end of this race here tonight. And if you're the 23 of Chris Walker, I mean, I think the goal here has got to be just do whatever Joe Hurta wants you to do. If Joe says, you know, just stay up top, that way if I get clear I can jump up, that's what you're trying to do. Or if you're the 23, you're just going up here trying to take the lead, maybe helping switch up the lanes, give your teammate a chance to jump up with somebody else. Either way, right now the Jack Shack has proven that they want to make at least one of their drivers advance to the next round, and Joe Hurta has had just about as good of a night as you could have for a driver that's kind of in a must-win situation. All the calmness, all the elegance, if you will, is going to kind of start to unfold probably once we get, not until after that last stop is, oh wow, here you go. All right, well, this will answer that question. Maybe it's not a single stop, because we see some pit stops here. Some of the drivers that were actually running up front. Okay, all right, so that will answer the question. 23 to go. They cannot make it from here. So this means it will actually be one more stop after this stop that they make before they get to the finish. And that's going to complicate things a little bit more, but looks like Matthew Baker... Oh, caution! Caution is out. That's the break that these guys needed right here. How about that from Michael Triscaro, Matthew Baker, and Jeff Merck is trouble over in 1 and 2. Looks like one of the Jack Shack drivers, along with multiple others involved. Got Joshua McCullough and a couple other drivers that are rolling through the grass trying to get back going there. Yeah, looks like they all do, but man, this wreck's showing a lot of data on drivers that at least had to go through the grass to miss it. Not sure how many of those were actually involved. And oh man, you see the 8 of Ken McCullough Jr. He's pretty beat up here. This looks like he's got at least left front suspension damage, potentially right front as well. And so this will bring an end to the night for one of the veterans in Ken McCullough Jr. Let's go back and see if we can take a look at what happened in this incident. Going to go first to TV3. You see some smoke out in front. So does it start? Looks like it starts right around where Aubrey Thompson was running. And I think it's going to work its way back from there. So let's see if we can start with kind of zoning in here on Aubrey Thompson and see exactly what happens here. It's going to be right as they're entering the corner. See, Aubrey Thompson's in the middle. And you've got Joe Hurta pushing the 23, his teammate Chris Walker on the bottom. And then as they start to get into turn 1, Hurta just washes up. Hurta washes up pretty big time. I mean, there's some right rear net code there for sure, but again, Herta was really, really washing up the racetrack. I mean, he is, I'd argue to say he is well more up the racetrack than anybody would expect at this point. Let's watch it from the cockpit view and see, did he have an issue or does he just get tight getting into the corner? The answer, yeah, it was a weird look for Joe Herta right there. It's almost as if, I don't know if he was, you know what he may have been doing? This is, again, kind of a broad guess. I wonder if he was trying to set up his black box for what he wanted to take in the pits in terms of tires and fuel, and just, you know, that quick look down, didn't realize as they were getting into the corner that he needed to turn a little bit more than that. That's just a broad guess, but it's certainly really, really odd to see the reaction that he just kind of goes straight, drifts up the corner, and it's almost like he realizes it, and he's like, oh man, I got to get back down. He's trying to turn off, but at this point, it's just too late. You've already pretty much sparked the netcode, if you will, and once it starts, it's at the front of the field. You know it's going to be ugly. Watch this. Up into the wall goes Thompson. He gets some airtime. Christopher Carter nowhere to go, and then it's everybody just trying to dodge it. See Joshua McCullough. Aubrey Thompson slides back down. Now, I'm curious as to how did Ken McCullough Jr. get involved in all this. Looked like he was a bit further back. And here's what it looks like for the aid of Ken McCullough Jr. if we can actually get back this far. Oh, man. Something turned him into the outside wall here. Is it going to be... Oh, somebody coming up here. The incident happens. They start checking up. Davenport gets shot up the track. He gets into Ken. That's what shoots him hard into the outside safer barrier. So a massive, massive hit for many, many different drivers here. And this one that might take out a couple more in all seriousness. Watch it again here for Aubrey Thompson. We'll go back to this yellow flag. And watch it from the blimp cam as he gets up. Just nowhere to go for Maines and Carter. And then trying to dodge it on the bottom. The 71 of Carlbahn looked like he may have gotten turned around. That was one of your playoff drivers. Looks like he actually saves it as the aid of Chase Mastretta, though. He got up the racetrack. Show you from the wall cam here. This will show you just how, in terms of the amount of drivers that were involved in this. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably a couple handful in total. That no fast pair, that's what I said, man. This might take out a couple more. A couple of your playoff contenders were also involved. A good break for some of them, though, that had been involved in a lot of them early, but not involved in this one for once. As we show you this one more time here before we go back live. Show you this from the zoomed-in view. The hit that Aubrey Thompson took right here. If we can get back to Aubrey, that is. All right, so here we go. As he goes up, look at that big shot in the right front. Car starts to go airborne, and then as everybody tries to miss it, Jason Maines, he plows into a nowhere to go. You see Davenport, Joshua McCullough there on the bottom. Nowhere to go for those two either. So the 13 eventually comes to a sliding halt. And so as we go back live now, 20 laps to go here at Talladega Superspeedway. Looks like it's going to be 19 to go when they cross the line this time. Should be 18 to go when we grab the restart. So you're still not good to make it on fuel all the way to the finish from here. Certainly had the option to come in and top off. That's about it. Keith Job says, Joe Herta got pushed loose. Let's go see it here. I may have missed that. Let's watch from the chopper view. Watch out back here. Well, he definitely didn't get pushed. Yeah, he definitely isn't getting hit by Logan York, at least not in that angle. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. I mean, I agree. That's what it would certainly have looked like initially. But then once, like I said, I just wonder. I mean, I've kind of been in a similar spot before. You know, as a driver, you got to manually set up your black box unless you have some kind of app or a spotter doing it for you. And, you know, you try to decide what's the best place to do it. Sometimes you know that you're getting pushed on the straight, so you just kind of set up for a spot where you feel like you got a chance to. And once in a while, you go to do it, you start to drift up, you realize. But when you're running that tight, it's just, you know, kind of one of those unfortunate deals where if you drift up even a little bit, it's going to potentially have pretty big implications. All right, so as we will go back green this time, you've got Garrett Maines and Michael Trascaro lining up on the front row. Chris Walker, Joe Herta, row 2. Logan York and Matt Lee back in row 3. With Landon Velke in 7th, Cody Nagels 8th, Dylan Jones in 9th. And then Jared Haynes currently rounding out your top 10. And this is where things start to get really, really crazy. And I talked about they're not going to go on fuel yet. I still don't think they are. But it's close, man. It's to the point of you almost wonder, could they somehow find a way to save enough? The best calculation that I can do without knowing the exact number is you figure 100%, they get about 40 laps. You times that by about 40%. That's going to give you about 16 laps. They're going to have 18 to go when they get the green. I don't know. If you save a lot, maybe doable. Going to have to save 2 laps worth. That's quite a bit here at a track that's over 2.5 miles in length, but we're getting ready to find out. Either way, it's starting to come down to crunch time. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. 18 laps to go at Talladega. And it's a good restart for Garrett Maines. Quickly going to move to the high side of the racetrack. Chris Walker on the inside now. 2x2 through the middle, 1 and 2. Man, Veliky started to drift up just a little bit right there. For the 62, it's been a roller coaster of a night, but he's now got himself back in position when it matters most. Got a podium in PGR last Thursday. That was his first podium ever in PGR. And now he's looking to capitalize yet again here tonight with that momentum that he got from Thursday. You see Matt Lee in 6th right now. Falkingham on the inside, about 4 rows back. Nagel's just behind him. I feel like every time we've seen Falkingham or Nagels, we've seen the other. Those two have been locked together for quite a bit of tonight. And of course, I think part of that is because Falkingham, I believe, is working with Nightmare Esports. I like to see a little bit of the mix-up and Coke Series drivers running with different teams. And so as it is still 2x2, you wonder who's going to try to get this third lane going first? Guess who? The Jack Shack, Trevor Osranoff. He'll go to the high side. Matthew Baker says, I don't care if you're a teammate or not. I'm ready to go to the front. And they are going to have a massive run here down the back, even though it's only 2. They got locked together, but now, unfortunately, they start to get unhooked. Jeff Merck sees that run. He'll go up top. This will add a 3rd car. The momentum now going to increase a little bit more as they rocket into turn 3. They'll take a 4th. Oh, boy, Malik Ray and Jeff Merck get together. That was another close call. Looks like Jeff's going to save it, and it looked like, man, I mean, Malik, we know he runs the 210, so for him, the save looks like nothing, but Merck, that was a big moment as he had to go up high to catch it, before ultimately bringing it back down the racetrack. See Matthew Baker going to go back to the high side now, but this time he'll line up directly behind his teammate Jeff Merck. Malik Ray's going to pull to the high side as well now. And these two teams, maybe not the best chemistry of always getting along. Triscaro got to commit. Oh, man. They start to stack up now. That's a really, really close call. Triscaro did a little bit too much hesitating right there. That almost ended really badly. And, you know, the thing you got to be careful about, this isn't just for Triscaro, this is for anybody. Kind of one of the arts of super speedway racing is that you need friends at the end of the races to have a shot at them. And one way to not make friends is to hesitate or make moves that put guys in jeopardy. They're taking notes. I promise you, Malik Ray is keeping in mind, okay, the 34 was a little slow getting up. At the end of the race, he does that, and I may get my momentum halted. So Triscaro going to try to prove now that, hey, if you push me, I can get us to the front. Malik Ray has drawn that 34 car even with the 23 of Chris Walker and the 12 of Garrett Maines. And momentum enough to almost get clear, but not quite enough to actually get the position. The 23 of Chris Walker still on the inside. Triscaro's going to dip down for a bit of a side draft. Now Garrett will jump up to the middle. This is really going to hurt that middle line's, or excuse me, the third line's chances of getting enough to at least get clear. Logan York, he'll start rolling out back on the bottom. Landon Veliky is going to move up to 2nd on that inside line. Puts him to 6th overall. Oh, man, a little bit more beating and banging there. Logan York bumped the apron, then got up into the 23 of Walker. And here we go. Wow. Early peel-off for the Nightmare Esports group and a couple of others. Not sure if Baker's running with them tonight, but man, that was a really early peel-off. But I guess if you got this many teammates, it's not a bad strategy, Colin. Yeah, I believe every single driver right there that you see that pulled down into the pits are working together here tonight, including Falkingham, Veliky, Matt Lee, Cody Nagelson. Oh, no! Oh, no! Landon Veliky gets turned by his teammate. Oh, man, you cannot have that happen on the last pit stop. Landon Veliky, the only driver for Nightmare Esports that had something on the line tonight besides money to fight for. And if we don't get a caution, he is going to be livid. Watch what happens here, and it gives him some damage. Veliky's going to get down to his box here, and what's going to happen here between him and Matt Lee? Veliky starts to move down, and just right there, Lee just gets into him. You know, I'm not sure when Lee's box was, but oh no, that's really not a good sign. Lee had a box way further ahead. Man, Veliky is really not going to be happy here. He's going to say, what were you doing? On the left side of the pits, I got to get to my box. And Lee's going to be saying, oh, I was trying to stay out of the way too. either way, man, that's a tough break for Veliky. He has now lost touch with the lead pack as the second round of pit stops is wrapping up now. Devin Ray, the Jack Shack and company, Jared Haynes, Trevor Osronoff, Joshua McCullough, Mark Vondell. Those are two McCullough Motorsports drivers as they round up their pit stop now. We still have not seen everybody make a pit stop just yet, as you've got Garrett Maines, Chris Walker, David Sheets, and Jeff Merck still all out on the racetrack. And they will now finally bring it down as thought Veliky. Veliky's going to get into York. Oh, York's going to spin. Caution is out. More drama. Logan York's going to save it. And oh, look at the scatter. Everybody's trying to not go to the pits because they know it'll be a penalty. I saw a couple people miss it. Garrett Maines is going back through the grass. What in the world is going on here? Not sure if Garrett's just going to take the penalty or what, but he goes back through the grass. He'll get to his pit eventually. Sheets is going to go through. Man, all sorts of chaos with 12 laps to go. Wow. All right. Well, this has now changed the complexity yet again because we're going to have a restart within 10 laps to go. Let's go back and take a look at this one here. So this is all going to start with Veliky and York up top, and I wonder... I'm not sure if York was trying to pit. That would be kind of my guess, unless these two had an issue. No, that's not the case. I think what's going to happen here, and I'll pause it. We'll actually go back, but I'm thinking York is going to try to find a way down to the pits. And one way or another, him and Landon Veliky are going to get together right here. Let's go to the cockpit view of York first. They're faster than Veliky, so he's going to try to sneak around the high side. Watch it here. York's got some momentum. He's going to give it a shot, and then at this point, I think he realizes... Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. From every view I can see, or I should say from every, at least the cockpit view from what I can see here, York's trying to get to the pits. He knows it too, so he's going to try to zoom around and then hope that he can get clear just enough to shoot down. But just, I mean, he's not able to get clear. Veliky's still running at full speed. Veliky doesn't have to pit. And, I mean, for York, that's one of those situations. York is one heck of a driver, one of the best out here, but, I mean, if you're Veliky, you're feeling like, at this point, what the heck, guys? And the concern there for Veliky is, I think they had just put him a lap down technically right before that happened. And then at the same time, he had contact with York to ring out the caution. So the point I'm making here is it'll be really interesting to see if Veliky gets the lucky dog now or not. And right there's where the contact occurs. And I want to go back and watch this from the chopper view and show you what it looks like from up top. So give you a little bit of a better idea of what I'm talking about when I say, so watch York here. He tries to shoot around the outside. Veliky is pretty much glued to the double yellow, and then, yeah, York just turns down. Just a big misjudgment there by Logan York. I will say, does a good job of saving the race car here once he turns around, does a full 360, and keeps it going in the right direction. But again, damage was done by that time. Caution had been brought out, and now it's going to set us up for a late race restart. 11 to go. Currently, Malik Ray leads, Devin Ray second, Jared Haynes third, Mark Vondell fourth, and Joshua McCullough currently rounding out your top five. As for Veliky, looks like currently he's in position, I believe, to get the free pass. Unfortunately, though, he won't be able to get any more damage repaired, at least not yet. We're going to take another quick break. We'll go side by side, and we will be back for the restart. Stick with us here at Talladega.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run! We will run!
Ladies and gentlemen, we got
The monkey is prime!
this season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time!
Oh, that's good.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
Three by three.
Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
All right, welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Here we go. It'll be 9 laps to go. An elimination race here for the round of 8. Malik Ray, Devin Ray, 2 of the Jack Shack teammates ready to lead the field back to green. Here we go. Green flag is back in the air at Talladega. And it is a great restart for the front row. The Jack Shack off to a good start. The problem is the outside. Devin Ray, no help to be found right now. Mark Vondell, the closest driver, he started second on the outside. He's going to get a little bump here now from Trevor Osborne. That'll push Vondell right back into position. Oh, man. The 05 of Joshua McCullough, big wiggle on the bottom. And keep note of some of these names. Joshua McCullough, another driver that could potentially be kind of in a must-win situation here tonight with the way points worked out last week. Falkingham going to give a little shot now. Vondell, he'll go high. Looks like he's going to get left out. He'll drop out of the mix now. As it looks like Malik is actually going to make the move up high. Big run out back. Watch out. That'll cause a stack up. Hold on to it. They're all trying to save it. There they go. Big wreck. Wides hard into the wall. Multiple others are collected as well. Started with a block up front, and that's the big one. That collected a bunch. And now this is going to put us in a restart with probably close to, if not less than 5 laps to go. And Landon Velicki, the night goes from bad to worse as he gets even more damage in this incident. And you could almost, maybe not as obvious for the people just watching at home, but I've seen a lot of these super speedway races now, and when you start to see them enough, you kind of can start to see certain things as they're developing. And let me tell you, Malik Ray, I'm not saying he did anything wrong here. I don't think he did. But as soon as I saw him go up, I kind of was worried something like this was going to happen, strictly because the run out back that Devin Ray was going to have was just too big that when he got to his teammate, he'd have to check up. And when you check up in these cars, it's not like the trucks where you can kind of afford to hit the guy in front of you and be okay. You got to be really careful and just watch it here. They start to check up. As Devin Ray gets there, here's the big checkup. Shoots his teammate a little bit sideways. Trevor runs into the back of Devin. Cody's going to run into the back of Trevor. And it's just gonna escalate. It gets worse the further back you go here, and eventually somebody's gonna get turned out of line here. It's gonna be the 14 of Vicente Guerrero first, it looks like. And once Vicente gets turned out of line, it's on from there. So watch it again. Watch this stack up, how far back it gets. And once it gets to Vicente here, they keep saving it, but York hits Vicente. And he gets sent down the track, gets into the 9 of Dawson Wise. Dawson gets hooked up the track, gets into his teammate, Alex Hill, and collects Mark Vondell on the way up. They go hard into the outside wall, collect another handful. David Sheets piles in with nowhere to go, as does Ethan Eckert, Landon Velicki, Richard Elliott. Bunch of really, really good race cars torn up. And an incident that, really just not anybody doing anything wrong, just part of the nature of the beast, if you will, sometimes at these super speedways. The way certain things set up. You see Dylan Jones there. He was able to sneak through it. Looks like Brock Westmoreland able to as well. So that was a good job there for Brock Westmoreland. Let's go back and watch it from the cockpit view for Brock. He's going to see it all unfold right in front of him as he's fading back. Already had suspension damage, and Just hard on the brakes to C's part as they all slide back down the banking. And that's how he was able to miss it. Unfortunately, though, for Dawson Wise, not so lucky. A lot of drivers are probably going to have to actually retire after this incident. Some of the damages that we saw. Here's the onboard roll bar shot for Dawson Wise as he's going to get right hooked. Up he goes. And at this point, you're just kind of along for the ride as a driver. There's nothing you can do. I mean, the wreck's already happened. Trying to kind of minimize the damage, but at some point you just let go of the wheel and hope that it's not too bad. That one collected probably about 10 to 15 of them, at least in one way or another, with probably about 5 to 10 of them actually getting pretty significant damage. Get 2 more looks at this here before we go back live. There's the checkup. There's the initial hook. And watch it here in the turn 3 and 4 cam. And it happened so early in the corner, too, that you thought maybe they'd get away with it still. But it's just that the momentum change up front with Malik going up and then Devin having to check up for his teammate was just too much to kind of get, I guess, dampened out, if you will, by the time it got to the back of the line. So now it'll be 7 laps to go. Actually, it'll be 6 when we cross the line this time. That'll set us up for a restart with either 4 or 5 to go, depending on if we get the 1 to go signal this time around. And so you've got Jared Haynes currently being scored as your leader. Joshua McCullough is in second. Then it's Malik Ray back in third. Daniel Falkingham fourth. Devin Ray currently rounding out your top 5. So as they get ready to go back green here, let's see, do they get the 1 to go? They do. All right, so they'll line them up. It'll be 5 to go. And remember, we still got to make it to the white flag for the race to be official. So we still got a long ways to go with a lot of things to happen. But as we do get ready to go back green, let's see if we can pull Baker up here just real quick, see how he's feeling. All right, hey, Baker, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy? All right, well, you're getting ready to go back green. Man, it's been a roller coaster of a night. Big damage early. The car's back. You got a shot at it, but what's going to be the game plan here?
It's, just I got to stay in line with the car in front of me here and see where the momentum takes us. I don't know if you're watching these points, but, man, it's close. I mean, you got Evan, who I'm 3 behind, who's within 6 of me. Dylan, who I'm 9 behind, who's 8 behind me. I mean, Garrett's down in 17th. Josh is running the race he needs to. Really impressed with him. So it's going to be a lot of fun here. Not going to try and overthink it. I got my old teammate behind me and Cody, and I got Falkingham in front of me. Hopefully we can push clear here and just get a good finish that we need.
Now, I was just getting ready to say, knowing that, it's as close as it is, do you maybe focus a little bit more on just trying to go for the win so you don't have to think about it, or do you keep it conservative?
I think I got to keep it, unless the opportunity arises where I can split third and then take that run. It's really not going to happen. So I don't know. The third worked early. You saw Mike and Merck push me clear. So we'll see here as we come out of turn 4.
All right, we'll let you go, Baker. Good luck the rest of the way, and the car's looking good tonight.
Thanks, brother.
All right, there you go. Hey, these guys are doing math and driving at the same time. That shows you just how much stuff they got to consider. So Baker, with as close as the points are for him, imagine how it is for everybody else. Here we go. 5 laps to go. The race will not be deemed official until we get to that white flag. That means at least 4 laps of chaos with potential for another caution. As here we go. Green flag back in the air. Malik Ray times it perfect. Gets a big jump. He'll push his teammate Jared Haynes clear. And that's enough to get them both clear. Watch for Malik to jump up as soon as the 05 starts to get some momentum back. Matthew Baker talked about that third lane being viable. One of the big questions here over the course of these next 5 laps is going to be who jumps to that third lane and when. Devin Ray trying to jump up as well. It's close, not enough. One more shot from Falkingham pushes Joshua McCullough to the outside, but unfortunately Josh has no help. The 05 desperate for anybody to jump out right now. Nobody's going to do it. McCullough is still stuck up top. Baker, Nagels, none of them will jump out either. Everybody is going by the 05 as they are still 2x2 up front. And it'll be coming to 4 laps to go when they cross the line this time. Malik Ray, oh, watch out. Trouble out back. 1, 2 around. Walker's going to slide back onto the racetrack. This might bring out the caution, and sure enough, it does. The 35 is in it. That's Jalen Hankamp. And we talked about Chris Walker going for a slide as well, but it looks like he was actually able to gather it back up. And so now this will officially send us into our first green-white checkered here of the night. A restart that will be just 2 laps to go when we get it. So let's go back and take a look at this one now. As here we go for Matt Lee. It starts with Matt Lee. This was kind of a 2-part incident here, but it's going to start with the 04 Matt Lee. So let's see, does he get a push here? Maybe a bad push from Triscaro. They're checking up a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be what happens. The checkup gets to Triscaro. He gets Matt Lee just a little bit offset in the right rear. That's going to send Lee down into the 12 of Garrett Maines. Now for Garrett here, he's trying to figure out if he actually saved it. He may have. Yeah, Garrett's kind of able to drive off of Lee. Lee's able to save it too. It was the 35 of Hankamp. It was the one that actually got spun here. And was he was part of the second incident. So there's that checkup that we talked about, and then the checkup from Triscaro trying to stay out of Lee, even though he gets into him, causes another checkup out back for the 23 of Walker and Jeff Merck. They get together. That's going to send Walker down into the 35 of Hankamp. And then as soon as it does that for Hankamp here, he gets pointed towards the inside wall. He gets it back the other way, but just unfortunately not quite able to keep it off the inside wall, although not too big of a hit. So he might be okay. There's another look at the incident there for the 23, and I think realistically that it may have stayed green, except for the fact that Walker slid sideways back on the racetrack, which, obviously not his fault. He's out of control at this point. This was a heck of a save, though. That's the point I'm trying to make. Look at that car, 90 degrees perpendicular to the outside safer barrier, and he somehow straightens it back out and keeps going. So a really nice save right there for Chris Walker. As we'll give you a couple more views of this before we go back live and set up for this first overtime attempt. And as he goes back up, Hankamp goes down, contact with the inside safer barrier. And look at it from the drone cam here, actually, since it happened on the front stretch. Right here, he spins around. He's trying to keep it out of the wall, but skims it there, and then he's going to take secondary lick with the front right there. So either way, back up front we go. Malik Ray is being scored as your leader. Devin Ray is second. Jared Haynes in third. Makes it 1-2-3 for the Jack Shack. Then you've got Daniel Falkingham for Nightmare Esports tonight in fourth. Trevor Osenoff back in fifth. Matthew Baker looks like got pushed back to sixth. Joe Hurta 7th. Cody Nagels is in 8th with Evan Carlbaum 9th. And Logan York currently rounding out your top 10. All right, as they set up for what is hopefully going to be the final restart of the night and your first overtime attempt, we're going to take one final commercial break. Stick with us as we go side by side here at Talladega.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run! We will run!
Ladies and gentlemen, we got
The monkey has prime!
this season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time! Oh, that's good.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. 3x3. Almost all trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. Hard into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Here we go. It'll be a green-white checkered attempt. Overtime number 1. We've got 3 in total if we need it. The rules are simple. We got to make it to the white flag for the race to be official. If we grab that white flag, there will not be a caution. But if we get a caution on this first lap, we'll rack them up and try it again. Here we go. Green flag is in the air. 2 laps to go at Talladega. A bit of a stack up further back on the inside. Now they're stacking up big time. Somebody missed a gear here. Can they all keep it together? Looks like they do. Whoever had the issue, they have sorted it out pretty quickly. Further back, you see a couple drivers trying to pounce on the opportunity. But up front, 2x2, and keep an eye on the drivers in white. Matthew Baker, currently the highest running playoff driver. Joe Herta back in 7th. We believe he is kind of in a must-win situation. Malik, try not to get turned. Falkingham, is he going to go around? Yes, he does. The 54 goes around. Baker's going to get collected. Caution is out. The 5 of Matthew Baker, all he needed to do was just stay out of trouble. And unfortunately, the trouble finds him at the end. Falkingham, he's got damage. Vicente Guerrero, he's got damage. I'm not sure if it was from that incident. And it looks like the 35 of Jalen Hankamp damage as well. Again, not sure if that was still from that last caution or from this incident right here. And, man, I'm not even really sure how exactly this one started. It's in a really, really odd spot to kind of start at. So let's see if we can figure it out. As Malik jumps up, and, ooh, is it just going to be a little bit of maybe mistimed pushing here by Falkingham? Let's see. All right, so here we go. Malik's on the high side here. And I want to zoom this in a little bit further. Falkingham's pushing him right here. He's pushing him in the corner. It's a little bit of a dangerous game, but they're getting up to speed. It's okay there, but right as they get out of the corner, Falkingham's still pushing, and I mean the car, it's just not stable. I mean, for Malik, the car is just unloading, and at the same time here, he's got him offset left at this point, and just a little bit of that offset left push is going to start to hook the one around. Malik's doing everything in his power here to save it. That crazy 210 steering ratio allows him to do that, but Falkingham has to check up. Baker gets into the back of him, trying to check up as well, and then that turns the 54 back towards the outside where Matthew Baker was. That's going to send the 5 car into the wall. Now the 54 gets turned, and they scatter from there. As I don't think anybody else got involved. Oh, there's that second hit for Baker. That might explain a little bit more of the damage. We didn't see that initially. I forget exactly who it was that hit him here. Was it Hankamp? So you kind of wonder. I don't believe it was. Let's see if we can figure out exactly who it is that runs into him right there. No, that's a 55 at Davenport, and then Jason Maines as well. Nowhere to go. Wow, that was a massive hit. Was that Jason Maines? Clobbered the inside wall here. I think it was. Look at this hit for Jason Maines. Wham! Man, big hit. Austin Wise able to miss that one. But for Baker and Falkingham, two of the cars that were really so good pretty much the whole night, just, I mean, what do you even call it, right? It's maybe a little bit of a mistake, do I dare say, from Falkingham. Just, like I said, pushing in the corner. He gets away with it here because they're getting up to speed, so the cars aren't fast enough where it's too unstable yet. But then, as they're getting to that point in the corner where the cars are starting to unload, he just starts to get a little offset. And we talked about that if you're going to do it in the corner, you got to be perfectly set. And once it starts to happen here, just stack up gets worse. Round goes Falkingham. Baker gets collected. Just hard racing by a bunch of guys at the end of the race, but fortunately, if you're a playoff driver, that's not really what you want to hear right now. We'll give you one more angle of that one. Actually, we'll give you one more shot after this. In the backstretch view. Here's a look at it. So as we go back live, Falkingham and Baker both still sitting in the pits trying to get whatever damage fixed that they can. Falkingham, the car looking a little bit better here. He might be okay, assuming he doesn't fall a lap down. As for Matthew Baker, front nose of that race car is still heavily beat up. I think what he's hoping to do here is just get it fixed up enough to at least get back out without going a lap down. You know, you never want to rule out the possibility if on the last lap they all wreck big time, you have that opportunity to potentially go around. As we go back up front, Devin Ray leading the way, Jared Haynes second, Malik Ray third, Trevor Osenoff fourth, Cody Nagels in fifth. And then let's jump all the way back to the 11th spot, a man that I have not had the opportunity to talk much about tonight. That's not fair because of the job that he always does. That's Dylan Jones, one of the Contender Series drivers of this season, but one of the best of all time when it comes to super speedway racing. And Dylan Jones, a lot of times you'll hear me say, Mr. Where did he come from? Always finds his way to the front at the end of the race when it matters most. And so for Dylan Jones right now, this is going to be all about trying to secure his position into the championship four, as Herta, Carlbon, and McCullough are currently the highest three playoff drivers. And Jones, as I mentioned, back in 11th here as the field sets back up in the 2x2 formation to get ready to go back to green flag racing. By the way, looks like Daniel Falkingham and Matthew Baker both able to make it back out on the racetrack. Baker, though, still heavy damage. Going to need another caution to get more of it fixed up or a break here with a big wreck on the last lap. Otherwise, his chances might be over. Oh, when one door closes, another one opens for somebody else. And for Joshua McCullough, Evan Carlbon, Joe Herta, all big opportunity here for one of these drivers to go up, get it done. Jack Shack, if Herta gets up there, you know they're going to be trying everything in their power to get him clear to the front and push him to the win. Joe Herta, of course, got himself locked into the playoffs after winning one of the races during the regular season. This will be green-white checkered attempt number 2. Same rules as green-white checkered attempt number 1. Got to get to the white flag for the race to be official. And if not, we will rack them up and try it again. We'll have one more attempt if this one isn't able to pull through. By the way, don't look now, but after all the chaos and everything he's went through tonight, guess who else is still in the mix? Landon Veliky. And there's a lot of cars with bumps and bruises out here right now, and when that's the case, if you got a clean car, you have an advantage. But even for Veliky here, with that little bit of damage, he still has some opportunity here. He's got a little bit of work to do, but Garrett Main sitting to his inside. If that 12 jumps up, watch for those two to potentially try to go to the front. If you're just tuning in, you picked a good time to do so. Crunch time and overtime, as a matter of fact, to round out race 4 of the playoffs here for Season 5 of Tuesday Night Thunder. The Jack Shack has the top 4 spots currently swept, but it's Joe Herta who sits back in 7th that they're trying to advance through. Can they make it happen? Who's going to win tonight? Here we go. Green flag is back in the air. 2 laps to go at Talladega. Great restart for the inside line. Oh, man. A little bit of contact there, about 5 rows back on the inside. Looks like everybody will keep it together for now. Big shot on the outside. Trevor Osenoff giving his teammate Jared Haynes a bit of a push now. Malik Ray, is he going to jump up? The answer is no, he will not. He's going to stick behind Devin Ray for now. Nagels and Herta still tucked in line, 3rd and 4th on the inside. And now the question becomes, who's going to jump up to this 3rd lane first? 3 wide further back. The answer is Chase Mastretta. Looks like Michael Triscaro has chosen to jump up as well. The 62 of Landon Veliky has jumped to the top lane now to join him. And they got to get that momentum rolling soon, because as they work off of turn 4, they see the starter with the white flag in the air. They're coming to 1 lap to go here at Talladega if they can make it. Coming through the tri-oval. There is the white flag. All right, here we go. Race is official. 1 lap to go. Who's going to get back to the checkered flag first? York jumps out of line. He'll tag on with Dylan Jones as they are now 3x3 for 2nd into turn 1. Still 2x2 for the lead, though. Can Malik Ray stay with Devin Ray? It's not going to matter because Devin will jump back to the high side. Picks up Jared Haynes, and now can the 3rd roll even down the backstretch? Final time working off towards turn number 3. York has indeed drawn even with the 2 other leaders. Can they all keep it clean to the finish? Here we go through 3 and 4. The Jack Shack still 1, 2, and 3. Nagels pushing Malik Ray for all it's worth. Now there's some contact. Oswald trying to save it. He'll collect a couple up top. Back down he goes. They're all wrecking out back up front. It's a 2 versus 2 tandem Who's going to get back? Does Haynes have enough push? No, he doesn't. Nagels is going to take Malik Ray to victory lane. The Jack Shack wins it, and it's Malik Ray who gets the job done at Talladega. Devin Ray finishes second. The gap was less than 100th of a second, but it was Malik Ray who got the job done thanks to the push from one of the RMR eSports drivers, Cody Nagels. You wonder if that puts some of the bad blood between those two behind him. What a win for Malik Ray, though. How about that? Very conservative on that restart, too. I think he was content to just push Devin, but as soon as Devin went up, opportunity, Malik Ray, and he capitalized on it. Looks like Joe Herta was your highest finishing of the playoff drivers in 5th. Not sure if that'll quite be enough to advance. There's going to be a lot of things that have to be sorted out here for points to determine who actually did advance to that championship 4. But again, as of right now, we know that Malik Ray is your winner, Devin Ray second, and Jared Haynes makes it a 1-2-3 podium for the Jack Shack. So as Malik Ray will bring it down to celebrate and burn it down. Let's take a look at your finishing results here tonight. Again, Malik Ray is your race winner, Devin Ray second, Jared Haynes third, Cody Nagels fourth with Joe Herta in 5th. Then you've got Logan York in 6th, Dylan Jones 7th, Garrett Maines 8th, Landon Velicki in 9th, and Chris Walker rounding out your top 10. Matt Lee finishes 11th, Chase Mastretta 12th, Daniel Falkingham 13th, Brock Westerlund in 14th, with Richard Elliott 15th, Jimmy Emos in 16th, Vicente Guerrero back in 17th, Jaden Hankamp back in 18th. And let's go back here a little bit further, rounding out your top 20 here tonight in 19th. It's going to be Matthew Baker and Trevor Ozernoff in 20th. Joshua McCullough finishes 21st, Evan Carlbon 22nd, Michael Triscaro 23rd with Jeff Merkin 24th. And you've got Dawson Wise 25th, Alex Hill 26th, Mike Davenport 27th with Sean Corbett in 28th, Mark Vondell 29th, and David Sheets rounding out your top 30. Ethan Eckert finishes 31st, Jason Maines 32nd, Aubrey Thompson in 33rd, Christopher Carter 34th, with Ken McCullough Jr. in 35th, and Caden Dieterich rounding out the field. He finishes in 36th. All right. Well, before we actually go grab your top 3 here for interviews, I do want to go back and actually look at kind of this segment here from turn 3. Let's see. Watch this here. Oh, apologize for that. We'll go ahead and fix this here before we actually look at the replay. But this is where things are going to start to kind of get unhinged, if you will. Everybody just starts fighting for every position. They start bumping and banging off of each other. And once that's the case here, Trevor Ozernoff starts getting squirrely. And at this point, he's just trying to save it, trying everything he can to save it, but not quite able to do so as he gets back into Logan York, directs on from here, and as they come back down, boy, they collect quite a few, too. Watch this here as they come back down the racetrack. Just see everybody scattering to try to miss it. Everybody else full gas here, trying to get through it. Big hits out back, and then in terms of this finish, this got a lot closer right at the last second than it initially looked like it was going to be between two of the Jack Shack teammates. Because right here, all of a sudden, now Devin Ray's got a big run, and man, that was really, really close. It might have came down to 1,000th between the teammates. It must have. Look at that. Devin Ray right at the line by maybe a bumper piece. Maybe is the amount he lost it by. We'll go back and show you what that official gap looks like. In fact, if we pull up the results again, it shows you right there. Official gap margin of victory was 1/1000th of a second. Excuse me, 1,000th of a second between Malik Ray and Devin Ray. What a way to beat your teammate in a photo finish. All right, with that, we're going to go grab your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Talladega. All right, going to kick things off here tonight with your race winner, the first of the 3 podium finishing Jack Shack drivers, Malik Ray. Malik, this is Austin in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good. Well, man, I'll tell you what, that was something we have not seen in a while. It's a 1-2-3 finish for teammates, and it's a photo finish. You beat out Devin Ray by 1,000th of a second. Did it look that close when you were crossing the line?
Yeah, man. I thought he was going to have me because I had damage. I just had damage, and that's why me and Cody didn't get clear down the back straightaway. I thought that he was going to win. I don't know. I'm surprised that he didn't, So shout out to Cody for pushing me as hard as he was, because I had damage on the rear, and so I know it's it's more difficult to like, have to push somebody if they do have damage. So I appreciate him and his help for that.
I'll tell you what, it's always interesting the way these races kind of play out at the end. Sometimes we see more aggression be the race-winning strategy. Sometimes it's about being more conservative. We saw you guys line up pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4 for that last restart. Was the initial plan just to stick behind Devin? And how did things kind of change there over the course of those last 2 laps?
I think the initial plan, it was just to try to get, it was just one of us in victory lane since we had so many cars up there. And at the end of the day, that's what we did, so I can't really complain at all.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Malik, before we let you head out to go celebrate a victory and enjoy it with your teammates, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
I appreciate all of Jack Shack, and I appreciate Cody for not turning me on the white flag there with my damage. And you guys for broadcasting, too. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Malik, thank you for talking to us. Congrats on the win here tonight, and hopefully we'll see you again in a couple weeks for the championship.
All right. Thank you, man.
All right, now that'll bring us to your second place finisher here on the night. That's Devin Ray. Devin, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. What's happening?
Oh, man, I feel like it's been too long since we've had a chance to talk to you up here. But, hey, no bad luck. Finally doesn't strike here tonight, and it pays off. You lose to your teammate by just 1,000th of a second. But tell us about kind of what went on there from your point of view through those last couple laps.
We was all lined up, and that's just, kind of how we was trying to keep it. I was holding the bottom there for a little bit, but I had to come up, help them out. I didn't, I knew Cody would be, the aggressive pusher that he is. I didn't want to take a risk of getting turned off of Malik or him getting turned or anything like that. So moved up to pick Jared up, and it was just hold on from there. I was like, don't lift. But I was tempted. I told Malik I was tempted to door his ass because this is the one series that I'm chasing that win in, and just to come so close, it's kind of heartbreaking at the same time.
Certainly is, but still a good finish nonetheless. And I mean, overall, the Jack Shack just continues to get better and better. What is it about the chemistry and the advantages for the people watching at home that you get at these super speedways by having teammates to work with?
Oh, the draft is one big thing with, like, the more the merrier at the same time. But Malik and Kyler joining has helped us a lot with, insights from their overall experience because, excuse me. Take Malik and them that's been on the service 12, 15 years versus us 2 or 3, that's a big, experience gap. So they've helped out a whole lot with us.
Well, it paid off here tonight. You guys finished 1, 2, 3. So before I let you head out, Devin, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yes, sir. Everybody at the Jack Shack, Malik, Jarrett, Cody, Joe, Chris. I think he got taken out early on. You for broadcasting. Just everybody at home for watching.
And Devin, thank you for talking to us again. Congrats on the second place finish here tonight, and hopefully we'll see you in a couple weeks for the championship.
Yes, sir.
All right, now that'll bring us up to your third place finisher. Rounding out the podium for Jack Shack tonight, that's Jared Haynes. Jared, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Hell yeah, brother.
Well, you bring him a third place finish, man. It was a little bit of a roller coaster of a night, but similar to what I just kind of said to Devin, you guys finally don't have any bad luck go your way, and so you get a chance to be in position at the end and you execute. How'd you go out there and get it done?
Yeah, it's been something with all the bad luck, especially me. I've been having nothing but bad luck here lately. Yeah, just executing, man, just like you said. Just putting our head to the pavement and going.
Well, I mean, for you, Jared, personally, I know that you obviously made the round of 19, not quite able to advance into that round of 8. But, I mean, overall, even though you're not still fighting for a championship, what's kind of the mindset in these last couple races? Do you stay aggressive fighting for those wins, or do you kind of have to change it around and try to focus on either helping a teammate or being conservative? What's that mindset like?
Well, we came in tonight looking to get Joe up there, but I think it was the last caution we had. He got involved, so that kind of defeated it, but he was right there, right behind us though. So he made his way back up, but that's what we came in tonight trying to do, is get him the win.
You come into tonight trying to help a teammate, and it ends up paying off for pretty much the whole team with, again, a top 3 finish for Jack Shack. So, hey, Jared, before we let you head out here tonight to go celebrate, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Big party at Jack Shack tonight, man. Just Jack Shack, my family, my wife for letting me race. My toddler, she loves getting on here, so she likes the little shout outs. She sits in my lap and drives my car a lot. But yeah, and y'all for broadcasting. Hell of a broadcast every week. Appreciate y'all.
Jared, thank you for talking to us again. Congrats on the third place finish, and hopefully we'll see you as well in a couple weeks for the championship.
Thank you, brother. Absolutely.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up our coverage here tonight from Talladega Superspeedway. What a great finish to that one. We see the Jack Shack go 1, 2, 3, and now the big question will lie in how do the points pan out and who will be your championship for drivers. We'll find out next week, or actually, 2 weeks from now, and what will be the championship race on, I believe, December 3rd. It'll be not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that. So hopefully we'll see everybody then. As for tonight, as always, thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed. That's it for me, Austin Green, here on PGR eSports. And until next time, have a good night.